It's about that time, baby, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here we go.
The Sinclair Show is on.
It is on.
Run it to your friends. Come on.
Come on, come on.
It's a moment of the show tonight. Mailbag is tight. Sinclair is on the mic.
Once again, it's on. You're still troubled in your home. Got you tripping, don't know right from wrong. Send your letters to the show so we can talk you through. Get the answers to your questions because we speak that truth. Sometimes you doubt yourself, lost your health. Faith is on the fence, but you believe that Jesus knows your wealth. Keep it moving, spirit flowing, because we're here to provide someone to lean on when you're falling. Wednesday, 8 and 9, and it's on. Once again, it's on. You're listening to the only morning show when people at night. That's right. It is the Sinclair Show coming to you live and direct. Yes, it is. I am he. It is us. We are one. That right there. Listen, people. First of all, I want to thank all of you all who continue to send your mailbag questions, comments, all the stuff that's on your minds, no matter how crazy it might be. You know, we're going to talk about a few things tonight, but I want to thank all of you all, everybody. See, when you're in the country, you can say certain stuff. And let me just go ahead and let y'all know something. See, sometimes, what up, Jay Dizzle? That's what I'm talking about right there. They go, y'all homeboy, Jay Dizzle. What it do? What it is, Jay Dizzle? That right there. Let me tell y'all something. Some of y'all think because a person use a certain lingo, if you will, that means that that they ain't got no education. Let me tell y'all something. Sometimes I talk a certain way because I want to talk that way. I feel better. You know, when you walk around the job all day and you can't really speak like you want to because you got to always be worried about what somebody might say or think. When you get home, especially if you're in the country, and some of y'all don't live in the country. I live in the country. I get to say exactly what be coming to my mind, and it's a lot of stuff that be trapped up in my mind. But that's neither here nor there. You know, matter of fact, tonight we're gonna all use some little sayings from our little country past. How about that? You know, some of them old school things that people in your family used to say. Every chance we get, we're gonna drop one in. So I done started it off by saying everybody. Yes, that right there. Matter of fact, look here, y'all. I want everybody to wish my little homie. Y'all remember I told y'all about this little 3-year-old that's always saying some real crazy stuff? Yeah, his name is Zamir. Yeah, Zamir. This day and time, he ain't gonna get no job because Zamir's people a little nervous about them Arabic style names. But anyway, everybody give a little shout out to Zamir. Zamir turned 3 today. 3, 4, one of them little ages. But anyway, however old he turned, today is his little birthday. He might be a little bit crazy from time to time. And he definitely, listen, I'm going to tell y'all this. And I don't even normally be talking about little kids, right? I'm going to tell y'all about I have had some experiences in the last few weeks that may be starting to turn my mentality. Detective Pamela Black, what's going on, girl? May be starting to turn. Yeah, that right there, Jay Dizzle. He been here before. But I think little kids might be starting to grow on me, right? Because y'all know how I be about little kids, because little kids is different. They like little people. So Lil Zamir, that's the one I told y'all, you know, just in a passing conversation, you know, I was just talking to him about just random life stuff, you know, trying to impart a little playtime wisdom in the young man's mind, right? And just out the blue, he was like, what your living room look like? I'm like, hold on, where did that question even come from? Then another time we was having conversations about, I don't know, it could have been about anything. He just popped up, what's up with the attic? I'm like, is this a little serial killer in the making? He be asking them type of questions, right? So, you know, I was just like, all right, you know, he pretty cool people. So You know, every now and then when I get a chance to holler at him, I see whether or not he getting in trouble or not, you know. But then I met these other little kids, right? And it don't even trust me. Everybody that know me know I don't even be out here trying to even entertain casual conversation with little people because I ain't got too much in common with them. But for some reason they like me. And I think is they might be a good judge of character, even if I ain't, right? So I met this little group of kids. It's like four of them together, right? And one of them's a little baby. I don't even touch babies. You know how sometimes people be like, oh, pick the baby up. Nope. I don't even get down like that. You drop somebody, baby, next thing you know, you in court these days. But the second to the youngest one, little baby named what is that little baby name? You know what? I ain't even gonna call the little baby name because I probably ain't even supposed to be putting their names out. I don't want to catch no charge. Anyway, little baby named Empress. That's what her name is. Little baby named Empress. And so when when I saw the little baby, I think the little baby was mean mugging me or something, right? But again, that's neither here nor there. So one time when I was having a little casual conversation with her, I noticed, all right, what up, JC? Glad to see you on the show. So I noticed that the little baby, what up, James Key? Glad to see you, big dog. So I noticed that the little knee, I think they call them knee high babies. Hey, what do they call this? If somebody got four kids, the second to the youngest, what's that baby called in country terms? I think it's knee high. I don't know for sure, but anyway. So I was just up and it was just a regular environment, right? So as I'm talking to the as I'm talking to the little young empress, right? And I guess she had got in trouble, right? At least that's what my cousin had told me, right? Oh, James said they call her knee baby. So my cousin Valerie, she had told me that the little young one had got in trouble. So me, I'm like something like an investigative reporter because I want to get to the bottom of what would make a little young child like that get in trouble, right? So I heard a crying, so I went down there and hold on for a second. Gwendolyn Lady Elegance Pritchard, what's going on? She hitting us up from Rocket City, Alabama. So anyway, back to the story at hand. So as James says, the little knee baby named Empress. So she was crying, and against my better judgment, I extended myself to pick the little baby up because I was really thinking in my mind, why is you over here crying? But that ain't how I came at her because I'm trying to be a little bit more decent amongst my thought processes these days. So I picked the little baby up, right? Surprisingly, she came over to her brother and act like I was just a regular person. Maybe because I look cuddly like a bear. I don't know. So as I'm talking to her, now mind you, this little baby can't be no more than about 2. I ain't even know 2-year-olds could talk. Not well, no way. So when I begin the inquisition of asking the little baby, what happened? Who did something to you? At that point, she said her mama did something to her. So you know me. I don't know her mama like that. So I'm going to be in defense of the little baby, right? So I said, well, then my cousin Valerie started trying to explain to me the cause and effect of something that the little baby had allegedly done. So the little baby heard me say to my cousin Valerie and the little girl's mama that don't worry about it. If they do something to you, we're going to call the police. That was the advice I gave to the little girl, right? So the little baby empress says, we going to call the police. Clear as all outdoors. I'm like, did that little baby just say that she down with calling the police? So I was like, you mean to tell me, little Empress, the little bitty baby, the knee baby, as y'all say in the country, had done agreed with me to call the police on her mama. So now I'm starting to feel a little bit more inspired by little young people because I'm seeing a little young person with a little mindset about her. So I say, okay, yes, if they do anything else to you, we gonna call the police. So she repeated it once again. And I was like, wow, little kids ain't as bad as I thought they were. So then I said, yeah, if something go down, we're gonna call them folks. She said, call them folks. I was like, this is almost like having a little parrot. You know how when people get parrots, they can repeat everything? But it's like a little kid is able to repeat exactly what is being said. And I was like, okay, so we got a parrot in here. And so then I hit her with this. No, let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you the truth now. Because I want to still have credibility with y'all. So little Empress was up here and she was saying some other stuff. And I think she said, that's right. We gonna call the police and they gonna shoot you. I said, hold on, little hamster. That was absolutely not part of what I said. Little 2-year-old, 1-year-old, half a year old, however old little Empress is, she done graduated from us just calling the police to the police. She said, we gonna call the police and they gonna shoot her mama. I said, hold on. That would let me know the reason why I don't mess with kids too much is because they be going in a different direction. I didn't want them to go in a different direction. But I had to realize that now there are some limitations to how I, as an adult, can interact with a little kid, because a little kid take it to the next level. Now, what y'all need to be asking is how in the world did little Empress add the rest of it to it? I just wanted, if you find yourself under duress as a little 2-year-old, if you feel like there's a little extra energy coming your way, don't worry about it. You can dial 911 and they'll come and resolve the assault, allegedly. Not little Empress. The Empress said, JC talking about some saying allegedly if you're using these kids' real name. Hold up, now I ain't gotta say allegedly, because when I say Empress and when I say she said the police gonna come and shoot, you only gotta say allegedly if it's a lie. I'm telling y'all, as a matter of factual data, that little Empress added that piece. I did not add that. And I realized that little Empress is like a little mini me or something. She got a little slickness about her thought process. So what I'm trying to tell y'all before I get into tonight's show is that y'all have to be mindful that these little people, I don't even know if we could call them kids no more. Because remember, I was telling y'all about a little dude named Zamir. He asking about dimensions of living rooms and attics. So I ain't know what he had going on in his mind. Shout out to Zamir. Yeah, it's your birthday, but you was sounding serial killer-ish for a minute there, because that was just an unusual thing. And then I got little 2-year-old Empress talking about calling them folks and they doing some shooting. I'm like, hey. I don't need no parts and all that. I still got to work for about a few more weeks. Anyway, all of that is neither here nor there. I just wanted y'all to understand that I had to send a little shout out to some little people because, and listen, let me say this. This is in all seriousness to y'all. I be saying it, but I be laughing, but I really be serious. Let me say this to y'all. One thing about young people is young people like interacting with people who got good energy. And I have found that out because, again, I'm not really the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth person that just be running just to hang out with some little kids. But little kids are probably good judges of character because they observe realness about you. Matter of fact, if y'all want to know if somebody in your inner circle ain't worth 2 nickels, take them around some little kids. If a little kid ain't gonna let you pick them up, you ain't about nothing. That right there. Yes. And listen, y'all can stop putting this hate mail because I'm looking in my little DMs and some of y'all putting some hate mail. I don't care how y'all think about it. I ain't say that. I told the truth. Y'all don't like them talking about a 2-year-old? Man, I'm telling you, they little people. Little people. They not really, y'all calling them babies. They a person in a pamper to me. They know what they doing. Smart. And matter of fact, why they always accusing Empress of being bad? That ain't my words. I ain't gonna tell y'all whose words it is. But Valerie name is attached. Anyway, people, listen. Enough about the kids. Let me tell y'all what tonight's topic is. Tonight's topic is, as y'all have seen, is every choice has a receipt. It's probably a little too deep for y'all, so let me tell y'all what I'm talking about. There is a power involved or a cause and effect involved in every decision we make. Now, every decision when I'm talking about it is this. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about you getting a bill. It doesn't matter if we're talking about in your personal life, your professional life, your spiritual life. No matter what it is, there is a cause and effect to decisions that we make. Now, the law of cause and effect, it says, I'll give y'all some examples. Like, people love to say, it just fell apart. I don't know how I got here. Things just happened to change. Nope. That's a lie. Okay? Things don't just change. They are changed by our choices. Cause and effect, just like Father Time, cause and effect is undefeated. Prime example. If you neglect your health, your body is going to respond in some fashion. If you ignore your finances, your bank account is going to respond in some fashion. If you avoid hard conversations, then your relationships will have an impact. All right. The scary part about all of it is that the effect is not always instant. All right. Well, Senator Claire, what you talking about that? Let me go ahead and tell y'all what I mean. Sometimes your actions will get a reaction, but not an instantaneous reaction. Meaning, you might say something or you may do something, and it may take some time for the proverbial chickens to come home to roost. If y'all remember back in the day, back when y'all was little people, if you grew up in the country, how many of y'all mamas or grandmamas or aunties, auntie, how many of them, if you got in trouble, they would promise you a whooping? My grandmother used to promise a whooping. And that's a little bit different. They hit a little different. That's the cause and effect. You do something. Hold on, what JC talking about? Yeah, but people hardly ever tell their role in the demise. Okay, JC, you know what? You're right about that. I'm rocking with you on that. When my grandmother used to promise you a whooping, it wouldn't necessarily come right then. And the bad part about the chickens coming home to roost, the bad part about you getting what you earned in your actions is that If it is a delayed reaction, you are standing or sitting or thinking or walking and anticipating the outcome. Do you know if your grandma promised you a beating at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, you still looking for that whooping at 6 in the evening if it ain't came yet. You don't even sleep the same. Because now you going to bed and you thinking about what? She gonna get me tomorrow. Cause and effect. The delayed reaction. Another point. Let's talk about Christmas time, right? That time of the year that all of y'all love to fake like there's a Santa Claus and y'all go get yourselves in debt. Okay? And what happens? Most of the time, people are getting in debt through a credit source, credit cards, loans, whatever, right? And what happens? That is not an instant reflection. It is not an instant accountability. It's like come January when it's time to pay them credit cards and you ain't got that bread. Now what? Cause and effect. But it's not just about things like that. I need y'all to start thinking about how you live your life, the choices that you make. Let's talk about political choices for a second. The cost of a political choice is now being seen. Now, some of y'all would think, oh, well, he talking about because Donald Trump is in office, whatever. Now, part of that is true. Every policy that Donald Trump creates is a choice. Every vote that went for him, put him in office, subsequently, it is a reflection of the policies. Same thing when it was Barack Obama, same thing when it was Bill Clinton. Every president that gets in office, when you vote for them, it is a direct connection to the policies, the delayed reaction that they will have. For those of you who voted for Donald Trump and was within your right to do so, the problem is he and many others ran on the political platform that Democrats don't want to do nothing but get you caught up in wars. They don't want to do nothing but raise up the debt ceiling, all of this stuff. And where are y'all at today? Y'all snatching up other countries' presidents. Y'all over in Iran, the same place y'all was in June of last year. June of last year, Donald Trump and his minions told you all that we have a need to go into Iran. They dropped some bombs in Iran. They said we have gotten rid of all of their nuclear capabilities. But 19 or 20 days ago, maybe 18, they said it is imminent again that Iran could potentially produce a nuclear weapon in a short period of time. And then there's that. See? Cause and effect. Politically, you voted for somebody and you didn't run the test on them to see if they was truthful or not. So you thought you was voting for somebody that would never be out here going to war. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Now y'all out here complaining. Soldiers around here talking about they gonna rebel. They unwilling to carry out an order. That's the commander in chief. It's a lawful order. That right there. But I'm not gonna linger on Donald Trump tonight because that's not the purpose of the show. But we're still talking about cause and what? Cause and effect of your actions. Let's talk about something that I like to call when I'm counseling people. I like to talk about a subject called the compound effect of a small decision. Now, let me say this. Your career was not built in one day. It's built in a bunch of daily decisions that nobody sees. Think about this. Some of y'all that get out here and work, I ain't gonna call no names because not all y'all do. Some of y'all just be relaxing. Ain't nothing wrong with that. If you can do it, do it. But for those of us who are still forced to get out here and do this work thing, right? You build your career over small decisions that compile into what will become known as what? Your professional reputation. So, how does that work, Sinclair? Well, you start off, let's say you from a little small area. If you don't leave that area, if you stay in that area, then people will begin to know you based on the decisions you make over a period of time. So let's talk professionally. If you are known from jumping from one job to the next job, to the next job, to the next job, people will know you to be a job hopper. Not in a single day, not on a single job, but over a period of time when they begin looking at your resume, they will start to see what? They're going to start to see that you have a history of staying at a job for 6 months or 12 months, and it begins to allow them to form a decision. Jay Dizzle said y'all out here chasing that paper. That's right, like the song said, for the love of money. All right? Now think about this. So that's just one perspective of it, that you will be known as a person who is not dependable because you skip from one job to the next. Let's take it a little deeper. You can be known within your organization based on simple things like what time you get to work, what time you leave work, how do you do your job. If you are consistently coming into work late, you will be known as a person who gets to work late all the time. In the short term, there may be no consequence at all. But in the long term, when it comes time for a promotion, when it comes time for a raise, when it comes time to be chosen to take on a project, there's the compound effect of your actions, the delayed effects of it. What happens is they don't want to pick you. That right there. We got this little thing going on the job, right? I didn't even really ask to be a part of it. But see, since I've been doing some walking for the last probably year and a half, people know that I like to get them proverbial steps in on a regular basis. So our human resource person was like, we're going to have some walking teams. Dr. Nicholson, you want to be the captain? No, I really don't. But I was recruited. Cause and effect. They know I walk. Let's get him to do it. So what do? About a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks now. We all had to meet outside, right? They always gonna make it a big shindig, if you will. So we met outside near the track at the college, and we all got our teams, and everybody else was just so happy to have a team. It was like, hey, these are my team members. That ain't how I was. I had my clipboard. I started calling out them names, and I had some good names on my team, but I was unsure about their capabilities. Like I had another vice president. I ain't gonna call his name because I don't want these people talking about I'm putting them on my show. Plus, I don't want to get them no free airplay. I had the president. I had Sade Britt. I call her name out because she always trying to. Matter of fact, we're gonna go back to talk about Sade in a minute. I had I ain't gonna say his last name, but I had this dude named Jeff. Now I was happy to see Jeff, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. Remember I said cause and effect. Now I got a walking team of 10 members, and we trying to walk the most steps, I think, in a 2-month period. So you want to have some people on your team that you know is about that walking game, right? Cause and effect. So every day when I look out of my window, I can sit in my office, and fortunately, I'm at a point in my professional career where I have been blessed to elevate to a level. And so I finally got me a, as they say in the southern streets, I finally got me an office with a big window to it. All right. So every now and then I look out the big window and I see this dude named Jeff. And Jeff, all throughout the day, is getting steps in. I'm talking about this dude walking around the entire campus. If I go down the street, Jeff is coming from down the street. Now, hold on, Jeff. I ain't snitching on you. Jeff do a lot of work too in between them steps. But so when I saw Jeff's name on my list, the compound effect, the cause and effect of me seeing Jeff, I was happy. So the first thing I did was I rolled up on old Jeff and I said, Jeff, how many steps? Because unlike some of these people, you know, the first thing that the president and HR and hold on, what Jay Dizzle asked me. Jay Dizzle said, is it a corner office? Well, Jay Dizzle, to be honest with you, your boy do got a corner office. No cap. I do got a corner office. But it's a blessing, people. Let me say this to you. There was a point when, and I don't want to get sidetracked. We're going to come back to Jeff, but there was a point. Matter of fact, I could tie this into the cause and effect as well. There was a point when I was in a senior executive position and my office probably wasn't much bigger than this podcast space. And I was a senior executive. And all of my colleagues had big offices. You know, the nice kind. And I didn't say anything, you know, to them. But I was hating. I'm not going to lie. I had a little hate in me. Because it seemed like, and I'm going to tell y'all what happened. If y'all been around for a minute, y'all know this is a true story. So I'm going to tie these pieces together. I am a vice president of operations and workforce at a college, right? And so being over operations, there came a point when we had to do, we were doing renovations to make the school better for the students and the customers, right? And so I drew out this plan to take this particular area that used to be a bookstore. So it was a really nice size area. And I drew it. I got on PowerPoint and I drew these office spaces and the dimensions. You would have thought I really knew what I was doing. And I sketched it out and I put me a big, because nobody wanted the bookstore. Nobody wanted it. So me and my team moved in there. And we moved in there. And before we had any bread to be able to turn it into something nice, we had people that were sitting. We had took the bookshelves that were remaining there and made them like walls. And we had separated like we had partitions, if you will, right? And nobody had a problem with it because we was in the proverbial slums at that time. People would come in there. They wouldn't even want to stay that long in your office because they're like, man, these cats over here in the dungeon. No problem. Just me and my team. And at the time, I'm a vice president. But I'm matter of fact, I had took a closet that was on the other side. Long story. We ain't even got time. So fast forward. I get on this piece of paper and I draw out these plans for this magnificent bookstore because the president said it's time to renovate. I said, okay. And by cause and effect, I've been working so hard, I have a little credibility with the institution because I've been there now for like 10 years, right? They moved up like George and Wheezy. And so now it's time to renovate. So I said, okay, well, Madam President, this is what I'm going to do. Let me present you with my concept. And I drew out a concept of having 4 offices, a open space for an admin that was huge. Then I finally decided that I would design myself a king-size office. Like my grandmother used to say, I was going to hit him in the head for old and new. And I drew it out. And the president said, hey, do what you want to do, Doc. You deserve it. So what did I do? I called the contractors. I said, hey, I need to build an office suite inside of a room. They came down, they took the measurements. They said, hey, it's possible. I can do it. And they began building on it. Now, I should have known, because I saw some signs that the president was going to turn on me, but I was trying to put it out my mind. So they in there building. Next thing you know, the suites is coming together. Now the place that used to be a bookstore got some new carpet in it. It's got offices with glass doors, right? Latiana Matthews, glad to see you. So now I got offices with glass doors and everything is busting, if you will. And they working on my office. And it's huge. And they working on the conference room. And I had them build me a conference room inside of this suite that was long. And it had all glass windows. And it looked like some of them ones in New York City. That right there. Your boy was on it. And so one day, I knew it was going to be a problem. One day we were in a PC meeting. You know, that's where you go and all of the key items is talked about. And so I get in there and I'm bragging. I had to, look here, I had done named it. I named it Workforce Towers. Listen, anybody that's listening to the show that works with me or works at the college, I want you to pop on and go ahead and let them know. Listen, the name had went forth out into the land. Everybody at the college was starting to call that area Workforce Towers, glass windows, glass conference room. I'm about to do it big. And then it happened. Compound effect, cause and effect. One day, the president comes in there. She's doing her inspection. She's admiring all of the grandeur, if you will. And what y'all think she did? How y'all think she sold me down the river? Anyone? I'll wait. Let me tell y'all what she did. Johnny, what you think she did? After I had built Workforce Towers, by every standard, it was the most high-end suite on the campus. Some even say better than the business office. Everyone said my conference room was the best on the campus. Cause and effect. Look at that. Johnny done told y'all, let me show y'all. Johnny said, jack some office space. You better absolutely positively believe. Do y'all know that the president, once she saw the grandeur, and I believe once some of the haters had got the same, you know, sometimes the haters would try to infiltrate and influence. So she came and she said, hey, Doc, I need to talk to you. Now, by this point, since we're talking about cause and effect, you got to understand, remember when I told you, you will build your reputation professionally and personally over a period of time. So I done built this reputation of being a team player. So she comes to me and she uses that against me. And she said, hey, Doc, I want to talk to you about something. So me, I'm like, hey, what is it, Madam President? We good, because she done allowed me to build Workforce Towers. And she says, you know what? This is the nicest area. It is front facing. Anytime somebody started telling you words like it's the nicest and it's front facing, they are about to undercut you in your dreams. And she says to me, because I know you understand where we're trying to go, I think we need to take this suite and put admissions and financial aid in it, since those are the first places that the students gonna go. Jay Dizzle said, walking and talking isn't good sometimes. You better say that again, big dog. So yeah, she hit me with the proverbial, because you done made it so nice, we not gonna let the workforce department move in here. And I said, well, we got students too. We want to be front facing too. Yeah, Doc, but I know. Y'all know what I did? Before I ever had an opportunity to move my team, Esther Shepard, what's going on? Glad to see you. JC says she used reverse psychology. Call it what you want to call. Annie Moore, what's going on, girl? Glad to see you. And I'm telling y'all, I was so heartbroken because I had been in the proverbial slums for so long that I have been as a vice president with my office looking like a closet while everybody else had window spaces, and all my counterparts was living at large for years. And I finally had an opportunity to build my dream suite and to make it look like it was a good representation. And before I could ever sit at a desk in there, she jacked the office suite. And I was deep down inside, I was hurt. Now, I knew it to be the right thing. I'm not knocking that. But I was hurt because of the effort. So what did I do? I said to myself, Petty Master, what can you do to make yourself feel a little better? What y'all think I did? I tell you, it was absolutely no way humanly possible that I was about to allow somebody else to be in this gigantic office space that I had built for myself. Absolutely not. So you know what I did? I called the contractors back. I said, hey man, I need a favor. He said, what can I do for you, Dr. Nicholson? I said, I need you to come through. I said, you know that office that you built for me? He said, yes, it's wonderful. I said, I need you to put a wall up halfway through it. And I need you to put another door on the other side. And I want you to turn that magnificent office that you made for me into 2 regular size offices. And that's what I did, people. That's petty for you. Cause and effect. She stole the suite from me. I never got a chance to go to the workforce towers. So I took an office that was big enough for me to turn into 2 offices. And I made sure that the individuals going in that office would be in an old regular space. Now, no, don't get me wrong now. It is still one of the best locations on the campus. But it was stolen from me. Cause and effect. Now, I know most of you all who are thinking like I was at that time and feeling some kind of way. But the story doesn't end all bad, because I came upon a section of the campus in one of the buildings, building 300 to be exact. And building 300 had something special. It was an old diamond in the rough. So what I did was I negotiated. I used a little, as who said it earlier? JC said, a little reverse psychology. So I went to the president and I said, Madam President, you took that which was mine and you gave it to others. But I need a place for me and my team. So I commandeered a whole wing when you first come through these glass doors, and it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably about 7 office spaces over there. And I said, because you took the conference room, I'm going to have to build another one because I got clients that have to come in. And so she said she felt a little sorry for me. So she said, Doc, go ahead and do what you got to do. Just don't spend too much. And y'all know in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, don't spend too much now that you done took Workforce Towers from me. I done blew the bank on the towers. Now you want me to come over here and ball out on a budget. No problem. Call my contractors. Hey, dog, got another little project for you. And he commences to coming in and creating me another little baby oasis. Now, it is not as fine as Workforce Towers, but just like the Monopoly game, you can best well believe I built me a boardwalk. And I gave myself an office with some big windows. That's how we got back to Jeff. Because now I got them floor to ceiling windows. And while I'm sitting in here doing work every day, working from 6 in the morning to, well, late in the evening. I ain't even going to call no times because I don't want to cause no trouble. But anyway, I saw Jeff. And Jeff walks around. And so when we was outside at the field and we all getting our teams together, and I said, listen, some of y'all ain't going to make the cut. And so HR said, you can't be putting people off your team. Absolutely, I can. She said, this is about fun, not for me. I am competitive. Jeff, how many steps you going to promise me a day? Jeff said it like it wasn't nothing. Oh, I get you 1,200 steps. What? Say less. Then I started going down the line. I had a couple of people that didn't want to commit to no numbers. One of them was the president. She didn't want to say no name. She didn't want to say no numbers. So you know what I said? Anybody want to trade me one of they people for the president? I'm getting you off my team if you ain't committing to no numbers, because this ain't no game. Okay? So everybody started calling out numbers. I get you 8,500 steps. I get you 10,000 steps. I get you this and I get you that. And I've been holding them to it. Now, we ain't all met. I ain't met all my steps every day. I'm generally going to get you at least about 4 miles a day. That's my number, right? Sometimes I do a little more. But let me tell you about your girl, Sade. Sade pops out here with a big number. Oh, I'm going to get you at least 10,000, 12,000. Now, in my mind, I'm like, not. But she been on this. I didn't know she was on some little walking game, right? But let me tell y'all what I learned a long time ago. There's nothing worse than somebody's ego. So, Sade running her mouth a lot, right? She probably number 6 on my team. Still a little suspect, but she been putting in the numbers. So I ain't kicked her off the team, right? So the other day, Sade says, while I'm talking, telling everybody I need y'all to get your steps up, she says, hey, I could do a 4-minute mile. She said I could go from the 800 building and go all the way down to the golf course. What? You lying. I ain't believing it. I ain't buying it. She's still talking it. I put that on everything. As she like to say, I stand on business. I said, okay, cause and effect. Running your mouth, make your pockets light. I said, I bet you my check versus your check that you can't do a 4-minute mile. She talking trash. I said, let's make the bet. She said, all right, I'm with the bet. Now, anybody up here, I see at least a dozen or more people on the site right now that used to be in the military. I don't care if you was in the Air Force, Army, Navy. Now y'all, some of y'all out there in the Space Force, that ain't whatever. If you, like me and others, were ever in the military, here's what you know. When you was in basic training and you had to run them 2-minute miles, right? Here we go again, same old. Yeah, that right there, right? There was only 2 groups of people, right? Look here. That's right, JC. That's why I was willing to put it on the line. JC said, if you're doing a 4-minute walking mile, that's Olympic speed. You better believe it. JC was in that military. JC said, running a 6-minute mile is hard. Absolutely. Gwendolyn Lady Elegant, she was in the military. She said, Army strong. Let me tell you something. When I was in basic training, 17 and a half years old, at the top of my game, I only seen 4 people in my life with these human eyes do a 4-minute or less mile. And I'm going to be honest with you. They was Latino. We used to get out there in formation. And the first sergeant would say, anybody that can run a 7-minute mile or less, you could go ahead and start. They didn't have to do what we call running in formation. That's like when you see it on TV and you see all of them running again and they singing what we call a cadence. Yeah. There's a group of individuals that run like some leopards and they get to be in the front of the pack. So I know for an absolute fact, Sade cannot, under any circumstances, run a 4-minute mile. She can't do it. Now, I know she goes, says she go to the gym all the time. Sometimes I see her walking around the campus. You are not a casual walker and going to just wake up one day and say, I can go run a 4-minute mile. Your lungs is burning if you running a 6 or 7-minute mile. You legitimately got some chest pain. There is nobody popping up out the blue running no 4-minute mile. I'd be surprised if I can find anybody on this list. I don't care how athletic you are. I don't believe there's nobody on this current list that I'm looking at that I believe can do a 4-minute mile. And she ain't want to look. So I told her, I said, okay, when you get to work tomorrow, this is what I'm going to need you to do. I'm going to need you to have your tennis shoes on. We betting my check versus your check. Now, that's a lopsided bet in the first place, right? Look, Lady Elegant says she going to be with the stragglers about to fall out. You better believe she is. So I told her, I said, no, you done bet now. And I'm real confident because I am betting a vice president check. I'm not betting a regular employee check. I'm betting vice president money against, mid-level supervisor money. But I am so confident because I know beyond any doubt she's not capable of it. I don't know. It might be some of them students at the early college, them young dudes who 16 years old might be able to do it. But young folks so lazy, I would doubt that. Let me tell y'all, it was supposed to go down Monday morning. Yeah, Monday morning. It was supposed to pop off. Yeah, JC said pride comes before the fall. You better believe it does. But let me tell y'all what happened. So I'm ready. I'm sending text messages. Yeah, you better get you a good night's sleep. And I don't know how you're going to pay your bills this month because I'm about to get that check. Turn on the TV. What does it say? They were anticipating us having tornadoes from 11 o'clock Monday afternoon to 8:30 p.m. on Monday. So we wind up not having to go to work the next day. Ain't that something? God was looking out for her because he did not want her to pass out and be broke. So cause and effect of running your mouth can leave you out here with no bread, and your chest busting wide open. Now listen, let me wrap this up because it's about time for me to go. I had this conversation with you all tonight about cause and effect. And while I said some things that were jovial in nature, I was serious about it. Because what you and I do, every action, good or bad, has a reoccurring action that comes with it. And I need y'all to do a better job of thinking about the outcomes, whether they are compound effects of the small things we do, or whether they are something that happens and you get your payback immediately. We like to use phrases like that's karma. I don't care what you call it. I am the least common denominator in everything that occurs in my life, good or bad. I had some impact, some effect, my choices, my actions, my thoughts, or otherwise. I am responsible for those things. And whatever outcome comes with it was always possible. The only difference is when I don't think of the worst case scenario, or when I don't think about all the things that could occur, then sometimes what does happen can be devastating to you. You can lose friends. You can lose careers. You can lose family members. You could put yourself in significantly compromised positions because you don't consider the cause and effect of the decisions that you make. And it is no different for young people, for little kids, for young adults, or some of you seasoned old heads. From the day we are born until the day that we expire and transition, we are responsible for our actions. And there is always a chicken that comes home to roost. Some of you might eat them, but understand where I'm going with this. If you make, well, Amina McCall, glad to see you. If you understand that you have a responsibility to yourself to monitor your thoughts, certainly monitor your actions, and to operate with a level of honor and decency about yourself, you won't be able to stop everything from occurring in your life, but you will absolutely be able to control whether or not you get the best or the worst out of life. So remember your decisions, consider what you do, consider how it impacts others, and remember, sometimes you get blessings so that you could be a blessing. Sometimes you get negative things that happen because you refuse to be somebody's blessing. And I'm out, people.
It's about that time, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go. The Sinclair Show is on.
If it's on.